exactly at this time last year, I watched Polar Express with a friend for the first time. It's really a nice movie to watch around this time. So for those of you who don't know, it's about a boy who's losing his faith in Santa, so he's picked up by this train, the Polar Express, and is off to the North Pole to see Santa. I really love this world. Oh, before I go in any further, I had plans tonight, had plans tomorrow, so a lot going on for Christmas. Believe it or not as much of a shut-in as YouTube would lead you to believe. So I'm gonna get to the Home Alone requests later on this week. That being said, Polar Express, good movie to watch around this time. It's not a perfect film, and there are a couple things that personally suck me out of it. And a big part of it, I'll get the criticisms out of the way. The biggest thing for me is the character animation. I mean, it was the first motion capture film, and I do think the technology is impressive. Usually, I kind of like this creepy imagery, this uncanny valley in kids' film type of stuff. But here, it doesn't really do it for me. I think the backgrounds look great, but it's the character animation that does suck me out of it. It has this uncanny valley look to it, and the faces especially don't look quite right. Which is a shame because the backgrounds look so beautiful. I know this is based on a book, and it's supposedly, according to people online, it recreates the style really, really nicely. And the other thing that really takes me out of it is the casting of Eddie Deason, who has a supporting role in this. Now, Eddie Deason plays Mandark in Dexter's Lab, and he's got a very distinct voice. He does use it here. He plays a kid who's a know-it-all, who's not really a likable character, and everybody else has this very realistic sounding voice, and he doesn't. He uses the Mandark voice. It really sucked me out of it. This should go without saying. No disrespect to Eddie Deason. I did love him in Dexter's Lab. I just felt like he wasn't really fitting in with the rest of the cast. And it did personally distract me. The rest I'm going to be gushing, because I really like this world, and I like this image to me. There's so much beautiful imagery in this. I like old trains. I love trains. I like old trains. And something about an old train ride to the North Pole where everyone's in their pajamas is so comforting and so magical. It makes me want to. I want to be on that train. I want to be in my pajamas with my family and friends going on a magical journey. It's a really simple story, and it's definitely one that's more about the journey than about plot. It's very much like a fairy tale. It's like Alice in Wonderland that way. I remember this movie being advertised for years afterwards. I remember seeing, it seemed like every DVD set had an ad for this film, and it seemed like it was running for years and years after it came out, because I remember seeing this for so long, even though I'd only seen it for the first time last year. Funny how that works. And when I watched it, one thing I thought of was it actually reminded me of CD-ROM games from the 90s and early 2000s. Yeah, I know. Dating myself with the use of the term CD-ROM. Something about the pacing of the film and the specific brand of motion capture CG really reminded me of that. It had this video game look to it, and it actually made me want to play. Not a gamer at all, but I would have think if there was a game about this, I'd feel like I'd be into that. Something I could play on my computer, choose my own journey. That could be fun. So yeah, it's just magical. It's definitely one of those times, while I definitely tend to like stuff that's more on character relationships, and I really wanted to like this more than I did. I did think it was good, and I did think it was fun, but I wanted to really love it, and unfortunately some of the problems I had with it really were big problems that did suck me out of it. But it's one of the few times I really felt like I was there, and I really found myself in this cool new place. And part of it was, I like the place. I like this setting. There's so much to enjoy about it. I like the visual development. Because usually, I'm not one of those people who gets sucked into something really easily. I mean, I'll enjoy a lot of things, but I'm always very aware, okay, I'm not in this world. I'm not, even with blank slate characters, I never really can project myself onto them. But here I feel like because the world is so unique and the world is so... And I think there's a lot of point of view shots that really like to show off the CG of this film. I think I could feel like I was there much more. Then I watched it with a good friend, so that helped a lot. In our pajamas, of course. It's the best way to do it. What else did I say? It's a sweet film, and it's nice. It feels very comforting. It's comfort food for this time of the year. And I can see why it was advertised for years and years. It's definitely a worthy experiment in terms of filmmaking. It is kind of a shame that the motion capture studio, that Robert Zemeckis' studio, shut down. Oh. Because I do think it had a nice look to it, and I thought this really could be used to its full potential, but I thought maybe filmmaking wasn't the way to go. It's a good movie to reaffirm your belief, either way. Sidetracking, this is a really good movie to reaffirm your belief in the magic of the Christmas season and really engulf yourself in it, really get into the spirit. I want to go on that train ride, I really do.